What's up, guys? This is actually a little bit unusual for me today. So usually when I do the 2 videos per day, I usually play a game first, and then I do the second video afterwards. Today we're going to do it the other way around. And you'll see why in a second, why we're going to do it this way. So if things are weird, now you know why. We'll go ahead and switch on over here to my Diamond Mine Baseball view, and we're going to go over here to, let's see if I can remember where this is. We are going to go over to view of all places and roster manager profile. Now, why this is in view is really, really confusing to me, right? Because what we want to do is we want to sit down and set up new lineups. You ask, why are we doing this at this time? Well, if we go over to scheduled and look, we're on Monday. The idea is that I want to set up new lineups 1 day a week. Usually I do this, I just sort of go into the game and change it and then change the save lineup that I use. I've been using kind of generic save lineups that I make myself. However, if we want to do this before the game starts, you have to go over here to view and roster manager profile. You would think it'd be under tools, but tools is all a bunch of stuff you don't want to do, like delete records or release all players or whatever, restart the season. That would probably not make for a good time for those of us who are really invested in this season. So we go over there, we clicked on view, roster manager profile, and then we clicked on the New York Yankees. This will take you here to this screen. Joe DiMaggio is listed as day-to-day. Is he actually active right now? I don't know. Whatever. If he is, that would be a great thing for the Yankees. Whatever. And then we can go through and we can see sort of what's going on. So this will show us here. This is what we're interested in. This shows us both real life and simulated statistics, which is what we want to see all at once. And you can do other actions. You can do things like ask the computer to give you a save lineup and stuff like that. I don't really care about that. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I don't really put that much stock into the righty-lefty matchups when it comes to these seasons. There are reasons for that I won't get into right away. I think that there are some real issues with accuracy when we're talking about that. However, we do have to click over here on Batting Advanced because that is the place where things like OPS are hidden. Right, this was at one point like advanced batting statistics, I suppose, and we kind of want to sort it by OPS, and why is it not allowing me to do that? Okay, there we go. Now it's working, and we do it twice, and then we'll go back and take a look and see what it is that we have. So, and you know what? I've just realized that will sort it by OPS as part of real life, but will probably not give me OPS per the simulation. No, it won't. This would have been an interesting thing for me to look at beforehand when I was sort of trying to figure out how to do this. That's kind of a problem, right? Because we kind of want to be able to sort this out not by how they did in real life, but how they're doing in the replay. So we'll take a look and see what else we can do. We can sort by on-base percentage or slugging percentage. We're going to have to do this kind of the hard way. So what we're going to do is we're going to sort it actually by on-base percentage, not batting average. I want to have it here on the screen because I want to take a look and make sure that I don't have any of the players open or listed that are not actually capable of playing right now or that are not currently on the roster, right? And so, I mean, with DiMaggio, there is day-to-day. I think we can use him. We have actually quite a few guys who are day-to-day. So let's see what happens. We'll see what happens when we get into the game later on. So the idea here is, like, in general, we kind of want to set this up so that the players are organized by really not just OBP, but by OBP plus slugging percentage, which unfortunately is not an option here. And we want to do it in a way that sort of makes sense, right? So you can see here right away why we have clip Mapes probably here at number 3. Joe DiMaggio, who has not appeared at all in a game, will probably end up being the center fielder. We'll take a quick look here and see what Mapes can play. He can play everywhere in the outfield, right? And so we look down here and see, well, probably going to, we want Tommy Henrich in there definitely. We're probably going to have Mapes take Bauer's spot. And so that's probably what we're going to do here. We're going to give Mapes that sort of right field role. Probably move him. Well, we'll take a look at where we want him to be in a second. But we will try to put Joe DiMaggio in here. And we'll see if this works or not. We'll just set it up something like that. How does that look? Again, apologies for not being able to make this much bigger. Part of the problem that we have with this is that Diamond Mine Baseball was made a long time ago before people had these huge, 1080p screens or these huge 5K screens or whatever it is that I'm using, which turns into kind of a problem. Now, we could, in theory, have Woodling hit first. I think Phil Rizzuto's a little bit faster. Woodling, though, so far this season has had a better on-base percentage. I'm just sort of comparing them. He's also got a better slugging percentage. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We'll have Woodling up there hitting first. We'll probably have Rizzuto hit behind him. And I like the idea of having DiMaggio hit next, followed by Henrik and Mapes. And then Coleman, you can kind of see we're kind of going down the list. I wanted to push Rizzuto up a little bit because I know he's fast. And then we have Yogi Berra. And then we've been starting Bobby Brown probably a little bit more than we should. This is where we go ahead and take a look and say, okay, well, what do you think we should do? And you can let me know in the comments what you would do. Probably let Bill Johnson start starting a couple of games there at third base instead. I think that's probably going to be a good idea. And then just taking a look here to see who we're leaving out. I mean, Ralph Hoke instead of Yogi Berra is a possibility. Did Berra play much? See, he didn't play in the outfield at all in 49. It wasn't until the 50s that he starts playing in the outfield. I mean, is there another place we can put Hoke? Not really. So he still is kind of the guy on the bench. Again, and well, I mean, this is the reason why he only has 7 at-bats, in real life. And so that's kind of the way that this works. We kind of go through this and say, okay, well, what do we think is going to happen? What makes the most sense? We keep an eye here, of course, on these at-bats because we don't want to have anybody in there who really shouldn't be starting, like Mickey Witek. I see you with your 1,000 on-base percentage, your 1,000 slugging percentage. He's probably not even active right now. In fact, let me see if it will let me save. Does this just save on its own? It looks like it just saves on its own, doesn't it? Whatever. This is such a strange setup, isn't it? So we'll go back here and just take a quick look and see is this Witek guy even on the roster? We can always arrange alphabetically. That will tell me yes, he is on the roster. He hasn't played in the game yet. So, but we're not going to start him. So this is nice in that it shows you only the players that are active, but yet there's a little bit of sort of like weird things going on. This is, though, just so you know, sort of the way that I would approach this, the way I would approach making lineups. The nice thing about this is that you can sort it out one way or another. And then when it gets to game time, you have to make like a quick switch. Like you see that Joe DiMaggio is actually not active, then we don't start him. That's kind of the way that we do it. It sort of depends, on how you want to do this. You can go through every single team as you want. I do think that it's a good thing to do little by little. Now I'm just sort of clicking around at random, which is not a good thing to do. But that's the way you can do it. Now, as far as pitching rotations are concerned, I don't pay any attention to this at all. The way that I choose pitchers in Diamond Mine is I will take a look and see who is ready. I won't let guys start the day after they started, even if they show up as being ready, because that's totally ridiculous. We just don't do that. And I think that this is also a little bit off, probably. Instead, we'll take a look at game time and say, oh, well, we haven't seen Paulette pitch yet or something like that. We'll have him start. That's just the way that it works. It's not particularly scientific, right? I mean, and I don't really think it has to be so. Yeah, I do want to save. I don't think that this necessarily has to be a sort of thing that's 100% realistic, 100% accurate, and very scientific. We just want to be able to play with the game and play with the game in a way that makes sense and in a way that's kind of interesting and that, makes it so that we have some interest in the way that the game is playing out. That's just the way that I do it. If you have a different method, let me know. It's actually sometimes a little bit easier to do with a card, or with paper, or with Notepad or Word or something like that. But you have to have the stats in front of you, right? Anyway, that's sort of the way that we do it. That's what my philosophy is. Love to know what you think about it, and I'll talk with you again tomorrow. Bye.